Hello, hello. Happy Monday night, everybody. I am really, really excited to be sharing what I'm going to share with you tonight. It's really turnkeying a training that I had done last month with one of the diamonds. I pay to be in a group that they run, and this was one of the trainings that he had done, and it hit hard. And I messaged Bree and I was like, this is a really good training that I'm in. I was like, I really think that we should share it. And she was like, well, why don't you turnkey it? So here we are. So that is what I am going to be doing. So for those of you that are that don't know me or that you're watching the recording, my name is Mina Luke, and I am one of the ambassadors on the team Freedom Collective, and I'm so excited and honored to be able to share with you tonight. So the training that I was on, and it was funny because when I told Bree the title of this training, she thought I was kidding. And so the title of this training tonight is Being Sticky and How to Be Sticky. And I thought it was kind of catchy and kind of funny, but hopefully when I dive into these things, and I'm going to try really, really hard to get it all into our half hour, but if I go over, I apologize, and I will have the recording up within a day or two so you can catch it if you have to hop off. But what I want to start off with is this. I want you to drop in the chat what feels hard in your business. Drop in the chat what feels hard when you go to work your business, what feels hard for you. Because the thing is this, when we're doing Plexus, when we're doing our business, right? When things are going great, we're great. It's easy to show up. And I can fully attest to this because for the entire month of August, I unintentionally, I don't want to say stopped, but I unintentionally started to hit the brakes. Life is chaotic. And do I have reasons? Yes. But I always like when Bree says excuses only sound good to the person giving them. And so there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that is going to hit. And it's when things get hard, when things aren't going the way that we want in life or in the business, that's when we tend to slow down and we stop showing up and we begin to put it all off. And the more that we put it off, what happens is the less we see winning, right? Because we're not showing up, we're not sending those messages, we're not checking things in the back office and following up with people. And then all of a sudden, August 30th hits or August 28th hits, and we're looking at our numbers and we're not where we said we would be because we haven't been showing up consistently. And like I said, the more that we stop showing up, the more it's going to compound. So this idea today talks about what does it mean to be sticky with your business? What does it mean to be a sticky entrepreneur? And I love that the diamond that I'm taking this from, that I'm turnkeying this from, his name is Kyle Rainey, and him and his wife are amazing. Kyle and Cassie Rainey, they're both diamonds. If you don't follow them, I suggest that you do and want to encourage you to follow them. Um, but this is, like I said, this came from a training that he did in a private group. But he says success doesn't belong to the smartest or the fastest. It belongs to the one who stick with it, who decide not to let go no matter how hard things get. They stick to the activity, to the belief, to the routines, to the systems that are in place. The mindset of a sticky entrepreneur says that consistency is greater than intensity. Consistency is greater than intensity. Y'all, when he said that, I was driving. I remember literally like going, wow. Because how many times do we sit down and we go, I gotta go, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go, and I push for a week and then the next week and we kind of slow down. So instead of like sprinting, what if we just jogged a pace the entire month? But a lot of times we sprint for a week and then we get tired and exhausted and we didn't get the results that we wanted, so we pause for another week and then we go, okay, it's the middle of the month and I'm gonna go, and then we pause and we slow down because we get tired, because that kind of effort isn't sustainable. Saying we're gonna do a blitz and we're gonna send 50 messages this weekend. Maybe for you that is sustainable, but for most people it's not. And then what happens is come Monday, we get tired. And then we say, I'm going to take a couple of days off. And a couple of days turn into a week. And a week turns into a couple of weeks. So success doesn't belong to the smartest or the fastest. It belongs to the one who sticks with the activity, the belief, and the routines. And remember, consistency is greater than the intensity. Entrepreneurs who stick are consistent daily. It's not the size of your leap that is going to build your business. It is the rhythm of your daily steps. I'm going to say that one more time. It's not the size of your leap that builds your business. It's the rhythm of the daily steps that you are choosing to take. Now, we know all the time, and we talk about belief, right? Belief fuels being sticky, fuels that desire to stick to your business. And it's not just about believing in the products, believing in the company, believing in the network marketing model, absolutely important. But I think in order to really be a sticky entrepreneur, one of the most important things is having belief in yourself. Having belief in the calling laid on your heart, because every single one of you, whether you're here with me live or you're watching this recording, you have a tugging in your soul pulling you to do this. Whatever your why is, you have something inside of you saying, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is a mission that I feel led to run with. Well, I've got news for you. If you are feeling that, then it was put there for a reason, and you are capable of fulfilling the mission that you feel called to live. He would not give you something that you were not already equipped to carry out. I'm going to say that one more time. He would not give you something that you were not fully equipped to carry out. I like Kyle talked about farmers, and he said farmers don't dig up the seeds every day to check the progress. And Nikki's on here and she could probably attest, and Vince would probably laugh. He'd say, no, I would never have a harvest. If you're constantly digging up the seeds that you're planting to see how it's going, there's not going to be any fruit. But a lot of times in our business, we do that. Instead, farmers, they water, they wait, and they trust the process. And I ask, are you doing this with your business? Or are you digging up what was planted? Are you not giving things time to grow? Are you changing the process, trying a new system? And I have been fully guilty of this. And I wanted to turnkey this. Please hear my heart, because this hit me hard, because I would genuinely say it was not being a sticky entrepreneur. And I think that's why it hit me so hard. So please hear my heart that I'm not preaching to you by any stretch of the means, but sharing something that hit my soul. Because I think sometimes, and I've done this, where we say, oh, it's not working, I got to try a new system. Or, oh, those messages, they're not working, so I'm going to do it this way differently. I know I just started that last week, but I'm going to try to get a different way this time. And we don't give the systems time to produce any fruit. So in essence, what are we doing? We're digging up the seeds that we planted. Because I'm going to tell you something, and this is so true. I've been with Plexus now for 8 years. The conversations that you are having now most likely are not going to be harvested tomorrow. They're going to be harvested in about 3 months or more. And anybody here that has been with Plexus or network marketing for any length of time can tell you how true that is. So stop digging up the seeds that you're planting today because you got to give them time to grow. If you only stick when results are visible, you'll never, ever see the results that sustain the harvest. People come months later. The third thing about a sticky entrepreneur is grit and assurance. And when he talked about this, it really gave me a different perspective on grit. Because I used to think that grit was pushing hard and going all in. And I'm not saying that in some level it's not. But something he said really stuck. He said grit is grip. Sticky entrepreneurs know that results are delayed but are inevitable with consistent sowing. It's not about grinding harder. It's about holding on longer. It's about having that grip. So ask yourself, how can you hold on longer? Are you holding on longer? Are you holding on with both hands? Or are you just like leaning against it and chilling for a little bit? And then expecting to have a big paycheck. Because I know that we've all done that. So grit and assurance means that you're holding on tight. And when we think about the traits of a sticky entrepreneur, so let me just real quick go over how to be sticky. It's your belief, right? It's the momentum that you have. We said it's not the size of your leap that builds the business, it's the rhythm of your steps. It's that belief and it's having that grit. So, what are some of the traits of a sticky entrepreneur? What does a sticky entrepreneur actually look like? Well, sticky entrepreneur, they're routine builders. They show up with daily activity and they're solid in those routines. So, whatever the system is that you're using, stick with it. Don't try one notebook one day and a notepad the next day and maybe post-its next week. Stick with a system and keep it simple. I like that Kyle said, don't decide based on your mood to show up. Sticky entrepreneurs decide based on the mission in their heart. And again, that one hit hard because there are times when I just don't want to show up. And in full transparency, I don't. And you know what? My paycheck shows it when I don't. We get paid in network marketing based on the efforts that we put in. Some people, they have a 9 to 5 job. You can go to that 9 to 5 job and maybe you just don't feel like working that day and you can sit there. Now, how long would you keep that 9 to 5 job? I don't know. But you would still get paid, right? With network marketing, it's not that way. If you decide you don't want to work that day, you have that choice. But then you're going to see the effects of that. So a sticky entrepreneur says, I'm going to show up every single day. On the easy days, on the great days, on the bad days, on the crappy days, on the days that I'm tired, on the days that I don't feel like it, and on the days that I'm excited because a contest just launched. And everything in between. Another trait of a sticky entrepreneur is being unshakable in the storms. Life gets hard, but stickiness shows up no matter the season. When I think about packing, I think about taping these boxes, right? Now I'm hoping that all the stuff I'm putting in these boxes, that this tape is going to stick, that it is going to hold. And it's funny because Kyle actually talked about this, but my son has like packages and packages of duct tape, and he uses duct tape everywhere. And I love when I think about duct tape and how sticky it is because duct tape sticks whether the surface is smooth or whether the surface is rough. So, are you being that type of sticky entrepreneur? Are you sticking when it's smooth and when it's rough? The third trait of a sticky entrepreneur is sticky entrepreneurs have long-term vision. And I think this is really, really important as we're just at the very beginning of September. And y'all, I love me a good contest and I love Leaders Retreat. And it is amazing to go away on Plexus trips. But I'm going to say this. If you are here and you're pushing only because you want icon on your badge or you want to go to Cancun, then I'm telling you now, you're not going to have a long-term harvest. Because this really, if you're going to be a sticky entrepreneur, has to be about something greater and longer than just the carrot dangling in front of you right now. I used to laugh because, and some of you who have been here for a while can remember, when Plexus would do certain prizes each month, people would be like, oh, I really want that. So I'm going to show up and push hard this month. And then the next month, maybe it was a prize that they didn't care about. And they're like, I don't need one of those. We can't only show up when it's the carrot that we want. A sticky entrepreneur knows that the celebration, the carrot dangling, winning that prize, winning that trip to Cancun, it's a celebration. It's not the end goal. You have to zoom out and look at the big picture. Incorporate your family. Talk to your kiddos about this. Why are you doing this? Talk to your spouse. Why is it you are here? What is it you want? Not just in the next 6 months, but in 5 years, in 10 years. Where do you want to be 10 years from now with Plexus? What do you want to have accomplished? A sticky entrepreneur has that vision and is working towards that vision. Sticky entrepreneur looks at the big picture. They don't evaluate the entire business based on a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, or a bad season. And I love years ago when I used to do Weight Watchers, they would always say, don't let a bad meal turn into a bad day. And don't let a bad day turn into a bad week. And don't let a bad week turn into a bad month. And I'm going to say the same thing goes with your business. You know what? Somebody ghosted you. Yeah, it's crappy, but it happens. Don't let that bad message turn you down for the whole day and let it spiral because it will compound and grow. Or we could do the opposite and compound things for the good and say, I'm not going to let this negative message that somebody just sent me stop me from pushing forward. So I want to wrap it up because we have 10 minutes left. How do we become sticky? We've talked about what it means to be sticky. We've talked about the traits of a sticky entrepreneur, that they're a routine builder, they're unshakable in the midst of storms, and they have long-term vision. And I want to challenge you to think about those things and to journal those things in the next day or two. What does that look like for you? And then I'm going to even challenge you more to share it with your upline. The person that has invited you into this business, that is running the business with you, that is there to hold you accountable. I share things good and bad with Brie all the time because I know that she's going to hold me accountable. So what is your long-term vision? Share that with her. Not, I want to earn icon. Not, I want to go to Cancun. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And where do you want to be in 10 years with Plexus? And I'm even going to challenge you, don't even do a year. Go further because that's what a sticky entrepreneur does. So how do we become a sticky entrepreneur? Here's some of the application, and this is where I think it's really, really important. What this is the steps that you have to take. So if you are writing notes, I hope that you write this down because I told you I wrote a bunch of notes and that's what I'm reading off of right now, but I'm going to be putting these on Post-its and I'm going to be putting them on my bathroom mirror that I see every single day because I want to be reminded of these because these steps I think are extremely important. So to become a sticky entrepreneur, you have to build an anchor routine. And I really liked because a lot of times I get stuck on numbers. I'm going to send 10 messages. I'm going to send 20 messages. I'm going to follow up with 10 people. I'm going to reach out to 10 new people and I'm going to reach out to 10 customers. And I'm not saying that numbers are bad because if that's the form of measurement that you want to use that's going to hold you to it, then by all means do that. But he shared that pick those non-negotiable activities and don't hyper focus on the numbers. And this is why this hit me. And so maybe this is just me. Maybe you can relate. Because I am a numbers person and because I believe wholeheartedly in having those SMART goals, right? That's something that's measurable, that's attainable, that's timely, that's realistic, all those things. What ends up happening though is if I set a number, I set a bar, and then something happens one day and I can't reach it, then I feel like a failure and then it spirals. So when you're setting your numbers, now I'm not saying to lowball yourself either, but make sure that what you're setting is not necessarily what you're hyper focused on because it's more important to show up to do the activity than it is to do the activity and say you're going to reach a certain number. Because I think it would be better to show up and send 3 messages if that's all you have in you that day than to not show up at all and say, because, oh my gosh, I said I was going to send 20 messages each day and that's just too much. And then that becomes overwhelming and then you shut down. Now, I don't know, maybe none of you are like that, but I know I am. And then it becomes really easy. And remember, we said about the whole bad day turns into a bad week. And that's kind of where that starts. So, whatever anchor routine you're going to do, make it something that is a non negotiable for you, that is daily activities that have no excuses and no exceptions. To become a sticky entrepreneur, you have to redefine results. And what does that mean? And this one I thought was really, I know I feel like I keep saying this every point that I'm sharing with you that he shared, but this also hit me because a lot of times we measure results by the number of people we sign up. Oh, I didn't have a good month this month. I didn't sign anybody up. Well, okay. But how many new conversations did you have? How many relationships did you build? How many reels did you create on Instagram that stepped you out of your comfort zone? How many days consistently did you post in your stories? If we redefine results and we look at, remember, longevity, long-term vision, harvest takes about 3 months, then it may not necessarily matter if we sign anybody up this week or this day or this month, but are we building those relationships? Are we having those conversations? Are we sending out the messages? Because sometimes we need to celebrate those wins, not just being able to post a graphic in the team chat because you changed a life. And I'm not downplaying that at all because that is huge. But I think sometimes that we get so focused on that. And when it's not happening for us, but we see it happening for her, then you know what starts to happen? Comparison kicks in. How come she's signing up 3, 4, 5, 10 people this month? Geez, I haven't gotten anybody. I must not be good at this. I must be an imposter. Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe this really wasn't the mission on my heart. And we start to hear the lies being whispered into our ear, and we start to give them space to grow. Comparison is the thief of joy. So change your results, or not redefine your results. Redefine what it is you're looking for that's going to define success for you. Lastly, adopt a mantra, something that is going to glue you to it. I stick when. I'm a sticky entrepreneur when. I stick when it's slow. I stick when I get ghosted. I stick when it's hard. I stick when I don't want to. I stick when I've got laundry piling and the dishes overflowing and my husband's giving me that look again. Be sticky. Stick until it sticks. So y'all are going to leave tonight and you're going to go tell your partner, your spouse, your husband, your boyfriend, your wife, whatever, I'm going to be sticky. And I want you to put it on a post-it and I want you to put it where you're going to see it every single day. And just like I hope you do with affirmations, you're going to call this out because this is going to be one of your affirmations. I am a sticky entrepreneur. I stick when it's slow. I stick when it's silent. I stick when I get ghosted. I stick when it's hard. I stick when I don't want to. I stick when the kids are fighting. You know what? If you're like me, that's when you want to hop into the office and that's when you're going to start sending those messages and just ignore those kids fighting. But then again, mine are teenagers and their fighting is just different nowadays. The ones who win in this industry, friends, are not the ones who are the loudest. They're the ones who stick the longest. I'm going to say that again. The ones who win in this business are not the ones who are the loudest. They are the ones who stick with it the longest. So here's challenge time. Here's your homework. Here's teacher Mina kicking in. Are you ready? For the next 30 days, commit to being sticky. And watch how that faithfulness to being sticky for 30 days is going to compound. Now, I'm not saying that you have to work your business 30 days straight. That's not what I'm saying. Because remember, we talked about redefining results, and remember, we talked about building an anchor routine. So if your anchor routine is, I'm going to show up 3 days a week, then that's amazing. And be sticky with that. If your anchor routine is, I'm going to show up 5 days a week for an hour a day, and I'm going to be consistent and not just scroll social media for that hour and say I worked my business and not saying I do that. Whatever your anchor routine is, stick with it for 30 days. And I guarantee you that you will start to see that harvest. What you are doing now in September and October is what you are going to reap in January and February. So those conversations that you're having now, people are watching. And they're going to reach out to you in January when they want to lose weight. And the people, I guarantee you, if you really look at who's reaching out to you to say, yes, I want to order now, those are people that you had conversations with 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Now, I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, that you have a conversation with a new person and they sign up tomorrow. That absolutely can happen. but that's not the norm. So remember that the harvest takes time and don't dig up your seeds to see the progress that you planted yesterday because you're going to destroy your harvest. Nikki, you have to tell Vince that one. I bet he will chuckle. All right, let me see if make sure I got everything. That faithfulness will compound. Sticky entrepreneurs don't need perfect conditions. Sticky entrepreneurs just need a decision. So here's what I want to challenge you with. Are you ready to make the decision? And I'm going to dig a little bit deeper and I'm going to step on your toes. If you are not, ask yourself why. Because if there's something that's holding you back, then maybe you need to explore why. I hope that this had some sort of impact on you like it did me. I think I've listened to the Zoom like 3 times because it was so impactful. And if you have any questions about anything, remember, this stuff did not come from me. This is me turnkeying a training that I got from one of the diamonds. So I want to make sure that credit goes where credit is due. I wish that I had the this kind of knowledge, but like I said, it hit me so hard. I absolutely felt called to share it with you. So I'm going to stop recording and then open up to if anybody has questions.